What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to do 3 looks with the new Nabla Poison Garden Palette. I literally screamed, shit my pants, and got a boner simultaneously when I saw the swatches for this palette on Nabla's Instagram, and I was so excited when I got an email saying that they were sending it to me, so I knew that I had to sit down and do a 3 looks video with it as soon as possible. So obviously that's what we're doing here today. We are doing 3 looks with the Nabla Poison Garden Palette. I love the aesthetics of this palette. It's like floral but dark and deep and mysterious and moody, but like also like bright and beautiful at the same time. Really love the color story. I am here for it. I love the neutrals and the metallics with the pops of color. Those are right up my street. So we are going to create 3 looks with it today, and we're gonna have a good old time. I try to do a variety of looks for different skill levels and, you know, different moods and stuff like that. The first 2 are definitely more fall toned than this one, but you already knew that because you saw them in the intro. I don't know why I'm explaining it. As you know very well by now, 3 looks videos take a while, so I am not going to talk too much before we get started. We're just gonna jump into the video. But before we do, please don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, because I would love to have you around for more videos. And if you don't mind taking a second to leave a like on this video, I would super appreciate it because it helps me tremendously. I think that's all we need to know before we start. Any information that you want to know about the palette will be listed down below because I forgot to bring the information up here and I'm going to have to gather it later. I think that's it for now. I don't think I have anything else to inform you guys of before we get this underway. So let's just jump into the first look. So to spice things up a little bit today, we have an added obstacle. I just got my lash extensions done 24 hours ago now, and I'm really not supposed to get them wet for a whole another day. Can we do 3 looks today without destroying my expensive recent eyelash extensions? Stay tuned to find out. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like, and I really want to base my first look off of this shade Berry Bite. That's the one that really caught my eye when I saw this palette, and I think I want to do, since it's fall, since Thanksgiving's coming up, I think I want to do like Berry Bite with a little bit of opera to deepen it up and maybe some subliminal. Little cranberry sauce and turkey action going on. But anyway, we need to start with this transition shade, so I am going to first go into the shade Zen here. On a Morphe M433 brush, I'm just gonna put this high through my crease and like above my crease. I'm just gonna pack that color down first and then blend the edges up. I'm basically going to blend this all the way like in the inner corner here. It's gonna pretty much meet my eyebrow. For me, because I don't have a ton of lid space, I find that that's helpful if I want the colors to show more on my lid when my eye is open. You don't have to take it at that far if you don't feel comfortable, but I find personally that it kind of opens my eye and gives me more space to work with if I'm doing like an eyeshadow look, you know? Obviously I'm doing an eyeshadow look, but you know what I mean. Like if I want my look to be eyeshadow centered. I just got these little mini brushes from LUXE in my BoxyCharm, and I'm very excited to try them. So with this mini brush, I'm just gonna go into Berry Bite, and I'm gonna start putting that through my crease. And then after I blend it through the crease, I'm just gonna pack it down with a different brush onto the entire lid. Just a quick tip for you guys, if you have some creases on your lids and you struggle with getting your shadow to look even over them, try tipping your head back and then patting your shadow on. So kind of, it flattens out your lid so you like get in those little cracks, you know what I mean? Next on a flat brush is the MAC 214S. I'm gonna go into this lovely shade Subliminal right here, and I'm gonna pack that over the empty portion, like the inner portion of the lid here. That's really pretty the way it is dry, but I think that I'm going to like it better if I wet the brush a little bit. Yes, I definitely like that better. Outside is so crazy windy. I'm not sure if the mic is picking that up, but if it is, I apologize. Now I'm gonna try this little LUXE 141 brush. It's like a little tiny flat brush. And I'm gonna go into the shade Opera. And I'm going to use that to define the outer corner and also deepen the outer portion of the crease. So far I'm loving the colors, but I have to say that both Opera and Berry Bite have a bit more fallout than I am accustomed to from Nabla shadows. They seem like they're a little on the softer side, which is fine because it makes them a little bit more easy to blend once you get them on the eye. They're not like doing that thing where they pick up or anything like that, but they definitely have a little bit more fallout, so I am glad that I didn't do my concealer first. I'm going to go into the shade Zodiac on a Sigma E36 brush, and I am just going to take a little bit of that. This is like a dark navy blue. It almost looks black in certain lighting, but it is definitely navy blue. And I'm going to just put that right in the outer portion and in the outer portion of the crease, just to give it just a touch more depth. Ooh, that's better. I love that. All right, I went ahead and concealed my under eye area using my Too Faced Born This Way multi-sculpting concealer. Still loving this. I want my waterline to be like a nice bright gold shade, so I'm going to use this pencil from the Sephora House of Lashes collection. This is called the Creme de la Creme liner. I'm just going to run that through my whole waterline. These pencils are like so metallic and creamy. I feel like they're very slept on. I think they're still available, and the last time I checked they were on sale, but I'll link everything down below, I'll let you know. I'm gonna go back into the shade Berry Bite on the same LUXE 121 Mini, and I'm gonna smoke out that lower lash line and then connect it into the top. I'm gonna start just by pressing the color in where I want it, and then I'm gonna blend the edge out later. Next, going back with that LUXE 141 and the shade Opera, I'm going to deepen out the edge of that lash line. So for the inner portion of the lower lash line, and also for like the inner corner too, I really want to bring more of that color subliminal into the picture because I feel like it's such a beautiful shade. So I'm going to pack it onto this pencil brush, and I'm going to wet it with a little bit of Fix Plus, and then I'm just going to pack it into the corner and then blend it into the pinks on the lower lash line. Everything about this is giving me Lydia Dietz vibes right now, and I'm 100% okay with it. Okay, I went ahead and popped on the House of Lashes Stella Luxe Lash and finished up my skin, obviously. I'm gonna get a little bit matchy-matchy on this look, so I'm going to pick up the Nabla liquid lipstick in the shade KERNAL, as well as their metallic liquid lipstick in the shade Antimatter, and I am going to put KERNAL all over the lips, and then I'm going to highlight the center with Antimatter. This is one of my favorite metallic liquid lipstick shades for highlighting. It's like really metallic. And this is the first look. So for look number 2, I'm going to start with the shade Honey. I like the looks of this shade because it kind of, it's the color of honey, but it's like, you know, a caramel brown, but it has a little hint of yellow in it that makes it more interesting. And I'm going to start by putting that through the crease and above the crease on a Real Techniques base shadow brush. Ooh, love that shade so far. Very pretty. And blending the edge of that with a clean blending brush. Now that I have that color on the lid, I'm actually going to switch up from the plan a little bit because I like it so much that I want to bring it all the way down to my lash line. So that's what I'm going to do with the same brush. On a Sigma E36 brush, I'm going to go into this deep brown shade Adagio. And I'm going to use that to define the crease, but I'm not going to bring that down onto the lid at all. I'm just going to put it into most of the crease, probably avoiding the inner corner depending on how it looks when I get it on there, because that kind of gives you like a different shape, like almost like a 60s sort of a feel, and that's what I want to go for with this look. And when you're doing this, if you feel like too much of that brown got down onto the lid, just go back into the shade Honey with your flat brush again and just tap over it. I'm going to take the same brush and a little tiny bit of the shade Zodiac. Again, this is a navy blue, but it's so deep that it functions essentially as a black. It just might be a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to use that to just deepen the centermost portion of that brown that we just put down, just because I feel like using more than one shade always has a more finished looking result than if you just go in with one. Okay, so admittedly, that was not the easiest to blend, but to be fair, it's really probably never gonna be easy to blend yellow into navy blue, but I'm just gonna be patient and take my time with it, and if I need to go back in and blend a little bit around the edges and stuff, again, as I go along, then I will. That's kind of how, when you blend colors together that like don't easily blend together, I think that's the approach that's best to take. So I'm kind of going for that like 60s-ish vibe, like I mentioned, that kind of has like that doe-eyed look. So I'm gonna go through my waterline with Walk of Shame pencil from Urban Decay. I'm gonna pick up a larger pencil brush. This is a Morphe E18. And I'm gonna go back into that shade Honey, and I'm gonna start packing that. Whoa, I just flung a brush, did you see that? I'm gonna start packing that along the lower lash line. I did conceal underneath my eyes while I was off camera, so there's a lot of powder underneath there in case we do have any fallout. Next, I'm gonna take an even smaller brush. This is a Real Techniques detail brush, and I'm gonna go back into the shade Zodiac. And I'm gonna push that into my lower lash line and just extend that a tiny bit at the end, but not bring it up to meet the rest. Okay, I finished off the eyes with the House of Lashes Midnight Luxe Lash. I finished up the skin, I added a few freckles, and now it's time to add a lip. As far as the lip is concerned, I feel like this calls for a matte nude. So I'm going to line my lips with the Nabla lip pencil in the shade Touch Me. And I'm going to fill it in with the Fenty Beauty Stunna Lip Paint in the color Unbutton. And this is the second look. Okie dokie, on to the third and final look. To start this look, I'm gonna go back into the shade Zen. This time I am putting it on an E38 brush from Sigma. Basically doing the same thing though, I just don't have any more clean brushes that were like the other shaped ones. I'm just gonna put that through my crease area. This time I'm not bringing up quite as high as I did for the last two. So this look is going to be partly inspired by a look that I saw Rob Beauty Christie do recently, and also a little bit of a similarity to the look that I did with the Dose of Colors Desi Katie palette. If you haven't seen that video and you would like to, I'll put it here on the screen. But for this look, I am going to go into the shade Majorelle, I think is how you pronounce that. Majorelle? Majorelle sounds better though. And I'm dipping into that on a MAC 221S brush, and I'm gonna put that through my crease. I'm gonna pick up this smaller Luxie brush again. This looks like it's dirty, but it's just stained. I cleaned it off on a color switch sponge, and I'm gonna go into that shade again, and I'm gonna use that to pack a little bit more of the color into the crease area. That shade definitely took a little bit more work to build it up and get it even. But if you take your time and pack it down and then blend the edges pretty carefully, I don't think it should be an issue. One thing I do notice though is out of all the shades, that one had a bit more fallout than the others. So I'm going to clean up the shape of the lid and create sort of a lifted crease with a concealer. I'm just going to use the same Too Faced concealer that I used earlier on a MAC 228S brush. This has a nice curve to it and is nice and flat and small, so it's really good for these types of looks. Ooh, this is different for me, and I actually really like it. Good job, Christy. Thank you for the inspiration. I'm gonna pick up my MAC 217 brush and go into the shade Canvas. And I'm just gonna use that skin tone, or at least my skin tone shade, to set that concealer because I think it just needs a little help sitting nicely on the lid and making sure that it doesn't move around. Okay, next I'm gonna pick up a clean blending brush. Again, this is stained from the last look, but I cleaned it off on a color switch sponge. And I'm gonna go into this shade here, Adoration. On camera, it seems like it's picking up mostly white, but this is actually like a blue duochrome shifty shade. I'm gonna pack a whole bunch of that onto this pencil brush and I'm going to wet it with some Fix Plus. And I'm gonna pack that onto my inner corner and I'm gonna start like bringing that up and it's gonna overlap over the blue and the nude. Ooh, like that. Before I move on to the lower lash line, I am going to add a wing. I'm going to use my current favorite, Kat Von D Liner X. I'm just bringing that to meet that outer corner that we created, and I'm going to just create a little wing in the inside. I'm going to pick up a Real Techniques detail brush and a little bit more of that blue shade Margerelle, and I'm just going to use that to connect the end of that shape right into the wing because there was like a little gap there and I just feel like that wasn't ideal. For the lower lash line, I want to add a little bit more of that pink color that we used in the first look. So on a Real Techniques shading brush, I'm going to go into a little bit of Berry Bite and I'm going to run that underneath my lower lash line. And connect it underneath that wing. We're going to blend that together. Picking up a pencil brush, I'm going to go into the shade Margerelle again, that bright blue, and I'm going to add that into the lower lash line. And also into the shade Zodiac, and I'm going to do the same thing, just deepening the actual like base of that lash line a little bit. I'm going to zoom you in here for a second so you can see what I'm talking about, but the blue shades on the bottom lash line are giving me a little bit trouble and they're like not sticking to one spot. Well, I'll show you. So like right there, there's like a little bit of pigment missing and it's being a little bit stubborn as far as wanting to stick. And it's giving me a bit of fallout. I already have a bit of the nude waterline color still in there from the last look, but to freshen it up, I'm just gonna go back through the waterline with the Urban Decay 24/7 waterline pencil in Walk of Shame. I'm just gonna go pop on some lashes and finish the skin. We can move on to lips. All right, this is my first time doing a look like this, and I'll be the first person to admit that this is not as perfect as it could be. There was like a couple of spots where it's not entirely even. I'm gonna play with it a little bit before we finish up and see if I can get it a little bit more even, but for a first attempt, I don't think it's that bad. And for the lips, I want to play off the little bit of pink that we did on the lower lash line there, just to kind of balance the whole look back out again. So I'm going to line my lips kind of ombre style, fading it into the middle with Kat Von D Por Vita. This is a red shade for sure, but it has like a little bit of a pink undertone to it. And I'm going to go over the top of that with the Urban Decay Hi-Fi Gloss in the color Big Bang. And this is the third look. Okay, so after creating the 3 looks, I have some thoughts on this palette. First of all, the color layout. This is one of my favorite color arrangements I've seen in a palette in a really, really long time. Personally, I love when something has pops of color, but I could also just use it to create very, very neutral looks as well. I love the color Honey. I don't know if I have anything that's like really identical to this. Like I don't think I could dupe it in my collection. So that's really cool because usually it's hard to find unique neutrals in like any palette these days. I kind of like the fact that it doesn't have a black and instead it has a navy blue. I feel like that kind of pushes you to make your looks just a little bit more interesting than they normally would be, but still gives you the same depth that you need to make a look complete the way a black would. So that's pretty neat. I like that a lot. I have to say that the color Margerelle, this is a beautiful blue, but it definitely, you have to kind of be patient with it and you need to work with it. Sort of like the green that I was talking about in the Kat Von D Fetish palette. It's gorgeous, and if you pack it down over and over and build it up and then blend it very carefully, it looks absolutely beautiful. But if you expect to just pop it down really quick and then blend it out really quick, you're not gonna probably get a great result. It's definitely something that takes a little bit of patience. I think that has to do with the bright blue color because I know that in makeup it's notorious that matte blues and greens are very, very difficult to formulate. As far as bright blues are concerned, this one is one of the better ones that I have for sure, but it definitely is going to be something that you need to take your time with and definitely not just a slap it on and go kind of a color. I adore Berry Bite. I also adore the shade Opera. Subliminal was absolutely beautiful and very, very creamy. I like the way it played with the other colors as well. It had a little bit more of like an interesting tone to it than I was expecting. All the other mattes performed beautifully. I have no complaints about those. And the standout shade, in my opinion, is the shade Adoration. I absolutely love the way this looks on my inner corner. I love the way this looks layered over the blue. I love the way it looks layered over the cream. I just think it's a beautiful shadow, and it's a really great way to have a very interesting pop of color that you can kind of like tweak and do little different things with in the palette. I just think it's a great color for like making things more interesting. As far as the price and everything are concerned, I will list all of that down in the description below because I don't have the information handy, but I will also, whenever I work with a Nabla palette, I will also try to put like a rough estimate of how much it would be in US dollars for you guys because they do sell them in euros on their website because they are based out of Italy. I definitely am glad that I like took a step out of my comfort zone and did this look because I do like the effect that I got, although I think I could have done a better job. However, first try, not so bad. I'm not too mad at myself about it. Do I think this palette is worth your time? I'm gonna say if you like this color story and you don't have something like it in your collection, yes. If you like Nabla shadows in general, yes. However, if you were looking for the blue here to be like your easy peasy go-to throw on a bright shade, I don't think that's gonna happen, so maybe keep that in mind. And as usual, some of the shades did have a bit of fallout, but for me personally, that's not a make or break type of a situation. But it's up to you what you think of that. The amount of fallout like wasn't crazy or anything, but it was definitely there. I have been sitting here filming now for approximately 37 years and I'm starting to lose my mind. So I am going to sign off. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a second to do that because it always helps me out so much and I super appreciate it. And also, if you are new here, do not forget to hit subscribe so you can stick around for more videos. And you know, if you're new here or if you've been around for a while and you want to hit the notification bell, that will help you know when I upload immediately so you never miss a video. And if you would like to keep up with me between videos, I'm at Miss Quinface on every single social media that you could ever imagine as Miss Quinface, just like on here. But my most active platform is definitely Instagram. You can catch me over there on my stories all the time. We unbox things, we do polls, all kinds of Q&As, good stuff, and I would love to have you. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think of this palette after seeing me create 3 looks with it? Do you have your eye on this palette in general? Do you love Nabla shadows in general as much as I do? Whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear them in a comment. I think that is all for today. Thank you very much for hanging out with me and watching, and I will see you in the next one.